morning, family around the world. Happy Tuesday's motivation. What are your fears? Use that as fuel and motivation to overcome those fears. I don't think I have many fears. I put some thought behind this earlier, preparing for this Tuesday's motivation, and I was able to come up with two. Those two are, the first one is not fulfilling the purpose in which God created me to do. I now understand my purpose is tied to other people's freedom, whatever that looks like. And of course that's, also expanding God's kingdom in history, as all of our purposes are meant to do, pretty much. And the second one is financial freedom. I'm not talking about like being rich and stuff like that. I mean like really financial freedom, to kind of like give you an insight of where I'm coming from. And I can't do this working for someone else. So that means the things that's to come if I do all that I have been instructed to do, and being obedient and everything with starting, innovating and starting things that I have been called to do. And so basically, I want to be able to take off a couple times a year. For each one, different lengths of time. For maybe 2 months in the summer, bringing in the new school year, because it's things that God has put on my heart, revealed to me, and kind of walk with me, a few steps on how to do this for this back to school celebration. Because we all know, when it comes down to going to school, kids, man, ain't no celebration. It's more of a hindrance. You know what I'm saying? But I want to be able to change that. I'm going to change that. It's back to school celebration, and it's reasons why it's a celebration, and of course I'm not going to go into that now. And also, from November to December, or January rather, I want to take that time off, for Thanksgiving, of course with my family, but also to help out with others and for others who may not have families, who may not have, the means and the way to provide for their families, when it comes down to Thanksgiving and having Thanksgiving dinner and stuff like that. I want to provide for that, and the same as Christmas. It's a lot of children out there, a lot of families out there, struggling, and not only do they know where their next meal coming from, granted, Christmas isn't all about gifts and everything, but that's, I want to be able to provide that. It's not about the gifts, it's the love. So I want to be able to provide that, and I have to have some type of financial freedom to make that happen. So those are two of mine. Now, I feel by me living out my purpose, the financial freedom will come. Because if you think about it, being in debt. Being in debt, that's a form of slavery, right? I mean, we're enslaved to our debtors. And Christ died on the cross so, to free us from bondages. Whatever that bondage looked like for you, you have been freed because of what Christ did. So the same thing, us as Christians, believers, we're not supposed to live our lives like like in financial bondage. You know what I'm saying? Like in debt. Like, we're not supposed to live our lives like that. Period. I'm not gonna go in that direction. But so that's just how I feel and how I see it. And if I'm not mistaken, it speaks about debt and all that, debtors in the Bible. So those are my two. So whatever your fears are, put your ram game on. You know what I'm saying? And go at it head first. There's no more living in bondage, no more being captive to your fears. Those same fears keep you from seeing the other side of that fear. And that's some type of freedom. And to the next one. Then more freedom. And to the next one. And more freedom. So go at that fear, because that fear isn't a fear of God. I mean, that fear isn't it's not godly. The enemy places that fear on us to keep us where we are, to keep us stuck, to keep us chained, to keep us from going to where God is trying to take us. So 2019, we ain't speaking no resolutions again. This is a lifestyle. This is for real. No more bondages. You know what I'm saying? No more fears. It's time to conquer them fears. Period. You know what I'm saying? Team up with other innovators who have conquered fears on top of fears on top of fears, where they can look back and be a testimony for someone else. This is where God got me. This is where God maneuvered me through to get me to this point. And it was on the other side of fear. So use that fear as fuel, motivation, and overcome that fear. You are an overcomer. Christ declared that. Walk in victory. No more fears. No more fears. Fears have been keeping us hostage on so many levels. Spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally. No more of that. You free. Be free. Conquer them fears.